Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is April 23rd, and today we're taking a look at the Pacific Northwest in detail. As always, we'll take a look at the extended forecast as well. I wanted to start off here on that little Doppler 101. First of all, you can see the blizzard warnings and winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings across a lot of the Dakotas here. If we go into this radar, we're looking at the Aberdeen radar here, and you can see the reflectivity telling you where the heaviest precipitation is occurring. If we look at Aberdeen here, you notice this green section to the south and this red to the north. The green is moving towards the Doppler, the red is moving away. So when you look into individual thunderstorms, you can see which direction the wind is moving, and it'll even tell you how fast this wind is moving. So right there you see green, that's moving back towards the Doppler radar. So you can see this area of circulation here, and then you can see this is moving away from the radar, and this back towards it. That could even be like an anticyclonic couplet in here, and there may be another cyclonic couplet somewhere here on the other side, but sometimes it's difficult to tell. So that's kind of radar 101. You can tell which direction the wind is moving and just how fast when you look at individual Doppler radar sites such as this. So yeah, tornado warning ongoing there south of Fargo. We're going to jump back out here and take a look at what's going on for the Pacific Northwest now. You can see that storm moving across the upper states here, and it's going to bring some severe again and probably bring some more tornado threat a little bit further south down the line there. You can see the big curly low pressure, very cold on the back side of this, bringing those blizzard warnings. But here's the Pacific Northwest. You can see our upper level low pressure system over the Gulf of Alaska here eventually is going to meander our way tomorrow night. It's been kind of hard so far today breaking out some of these low clouds across the area. Some higher clouds starting to move across now. Looked like some sunshine last time I peeked out the window. So it should be a pretty decent day on into the afternoon for many of the areas at the Pacific Northwest. You can see the clouds are starting to clear. High clouds will be passing through today, and then we're going to get this system coming through tomorrow night, eventually bringing precipitation across the region here. And then this cold air is going to settle across the region into next week, and that's going to reintroduce the thunderstorm threat for the region. So we'll take a look at that in some detail here. Looking a little bit closer now, you can see these high clouds and the low clouds starting to burn off. This is the GOES 17 satellite. You can see the snow at the higher terrains really shows up well here. You can see Mount Rainier, for example, and the snow across the Cascades of Washington, Oregon, all the way down into the Sierra Nevada. You can see these bigger lakes across the region as well, and the clouds moving across that higher terrain off here to the east. And you can see the nice sunny skies over the Columbia River Basin there. You can see the Columbia River even on the satellite. This is great for summertime too when fires start to break out. You can really pinpoint where these fires are occurring, and some of these fires get pretty vigorous and produce huge amounts of smoke. And the GOES satellites really help with identifying where that smoke is going and where these fires are located. So check it out if you have any interest in that. And now looking around the rest of the country quickly again here, you can see that fire danger continues to exist. There's wind advisories, high wind warnings, blizzard warnings, so pretty active across the central portions of the country up through the northern states. See, it's pretty quiet generally along the west coast. We do have some sneaker wave advisories going on here for the Washington and Oregon coast. Always a good idea to remember that when you're heading out to the coastlines. This is for today. You can see that tornado threat that does reside up towards Fargo, and then from Des Moines down all the way through Wichita Falls, through Dallas, Texas there, just northeast of Dallas, actually, northwest. And you can see there is a wind threat and hail threat with that as well. But this should be pushing off on into tomorrow as we go to day 2. You can see a marginal risk across much of the area, all the way from Canada to the Mexico border. So this is Spokane. You can see the average high for May 1st to 7th is about 65. So this is the time of the year where eastern Washington just starts to warm up a bit here. So we're getting towards that time of year. And like I mentioned yesterday, if you have interest in becoming a weather spotter, you can join Skywarn Weather Spotter training here. Check this out online. You can Google it or just go ahead and register with your local National Weather Service office there. And here's that risk for sneaker waves. This is Medford, Oregon forecast. This is really, anytime they issue these at all, I'd like to remind people that this is probably a good idea to always remember this along the coast of Washington, Oregon, and British Columbia, Vancouver Island. Don't turn your back on the ocean. Stay off the rocks, logs, and jetties, especially during the winter and spring months when the storms are active. These waves can just come in without warning. Larger sets can easily overtake you. Now here's taking a look at this wave activity. See, it wanes a bit, then it picks up again starting Sunday evening with that next storm, and that's really when the next that advisory is for as we go on in through the day, Sunday and the evening. So it is still that time of the year where the waves are still a threat along the Washington, Oregon coast, British Columbia. But this is checking out the infrared satellite forecast here, according to the European. We go into tonight, you see just some high clouds around the region, so it should be a fine evening around the area. And as we go into Sunday, you'll notice this frontal system start to approach Sunday night, moving into the region here. Here's the cold air getting closer, starting to affect areas of British Columbia as we continue to bring some clouds and precip through Washington and Oregon through Monday on into Tuesday. We're going to introduce the thunderstorm threat across the region here as you see this cold air really come in behind this system here, and this is going to plague us for a while here as we continue to deal with troughing across the Pacific Northwest all the way till next weekend. As you can see, further systems spinning up over us as we go on into through the extended. So active weather is going to continue across Pacific Northwest here, folks. Checking out the surface pressure map here. Let's take a look at this. I wanted to highlight something earlier into next week. You can see no big low pressure system per se, but we do have the troughing around, and you can see how the low takes up residence inland, and this is what's going to create Puget Sound convergence zone potential through the day and the afternoon Tuesday, with lightning threat with that also. As the winds go from high to low pressure, you get this gradient moving onshore, and this wraps around the Olympic Mountains and causes that convergence zone activity. It's probably going to bring some mountain snow as well as this chilly upper level low moves by, and the surface low in this example. Here's the winds. You can see this approach as we go through the day Sunday as the winds pick up with this next frontal system. And as we go through the day Tuesday, you can see kind of the convergence zone signature, strong winds through the Strait, strong winds through the Chehalis Gap, kind of meeting over the Puget Sound, generally north of Seattle in a scenario like this. And you can see the winds moving through the Columbia Basin at a pretty good clip. That's why they have a lot of wind farms out there. Now checking this out on the European, here's when the precipitation is supposed to start tomorrow. You can see Sunday evening, probably it's going to hold off through the afternoon, but the clouds, you'll notice those moving in, and then we get to precip overnight until Monday morning, and then the next system swings through also with the cold air associated on Tuesday evening with the convergence zone activity potential. But look, it's still bringing mountain snows for the Cascades, British Columbia, the Rockies, into Idaho. And then we go a little bit further out, and you can see the troughing hanging around. Precipitation never seems to be far away, but still adding to that mountain snowpack, that's always helpful. Now checking out our lightning potential here, let's take a look at this. Not too much to speak of as we go through Sunday. This frontal system's not going to have much with it, but then we go through Monday. You'll see some of the instability building up over portions of BC. As we go into Tuesday, you'll notice this increase. Check this out. Across the Puget Sound down towards Portland, maybe some of the Willamette Valley coastal regions. We're going to get some unstable air in here again, and so we need to watch how this evolves here over the next few days for another thunderstorm around for western Washington, western Oregon, and British Columbia. Going to Wednesday, a little bit of instability around maybe, but as we go into Thursday, maybe eastern portions. But this can change. We'll take a look at this as we get closer to it. This is looking at 10,000 feet. And you can see that low pressure system over the Gulf of Alaska marked here by this cold air that's kind of spun off a polar lobe here over the Siberia, really, or portions of Russia there. As it moves our way, you can see this is going to be the front Sunday night. You can see it arriving later Sunday afternoon as this cold air moves over us for Monday and Tuesday with our thunderstorm potential. Going on to the extended here, you can see that cold air just really hanging around. But then maybe into the extended, maybe some of this cold air will drop far enough over the Pacific Ocean where we can get some ridging and get some nice days in here. But still, we're pretty far out from that scenario yet. I wanted to show you guys this one here too. Here's the surface temperature. This just kind of gives you a picture of what the temperature at the surface is of our northern hemisphere, mainly the Pacific Ocean here. Alaska, Washington, Oregon, California. You can see Hawaii there, Japan, and the Asian continent. And as we put this into motion here, you notice this cold air. Siberia is really a breeding ground for cold air. It cools off really quickly there, especially in the winter and early spring months. And you can see this cold air as it moves off, it tends to form these cyclones as it meets up with this warmer air over the Pacific. And that's how we get some cyclogenesis with these systems. And you can see it doesn't vary that much day to day over the ocean per se. You know, the water temperature drives a lot of these temperatures that occur over the Pacific Ocean. So day to day, you'll notice it heat up over the interior, for example, of the Intermountain West here, and then cool down at night. Heat back up during the day as the sun warms things up, and then cool back down at night. Heat up during the day. You get the idea, kind of a diurnal thing that happens over land. Much more, it's a bigger variance during the day over the land versus the ocean. Land heats quicker. The water will absorb more heat, and the changes are much slower occurring. So that's why you'll see big changes like in the interior of Alaska even compared to the ocean out here. And that's kind of what the driver for the Pacific Northwest is just this modified ocean air mass. It kind of modifies really very cold air that comes off of Siberia a lot of times, or even Alaska. Once it comes over the Gulf of Alaska, it modifies at lower levels because of this ocean. That it's just not very warm. So, and it's just kind of a mild temperate climate here in the Pacific Northwest. That's why we don't get severe storms like they do out in the Midwest. We don't have that tap to subtropical moisture usually to deal with. So that's what happens. This ocean drives our climate here, west of the Cascades especially. Now, taking a look at the extended a little bit here, here's 18,000 feet. See the trough moving off. The ridging for today and tomorrow. Sunday should be a fairly warm day. Clouds are going to be moving in later. Then you'll see the troughing really set up. And look how this just reinforces itself and spins and meanders over the Pacific Northwest and then continues on in through really the 10-day range here on the European model. So that's, sun lovers not too keen on these prospects going into early May, but we'll see how that develops. That can always change. Here's the GFS, is always good short-term agreement. Drops down over the Pacific Northwest, meanders a bit, but then you can see areas like the or periods like this can give us nice days in between systems, especially at this time of year. And if the trough doesn't dig too far towards us, we can get multiple days in a row. The GFS is disagreeing with the European here through the 10-day period, but then you can see it's really building this trough up over the Gulf of Alaska, and this would be a pretty wet solution here as we go on into early May, according to the GFS. But again, this is fantasy land. We're still trying to find and trying to get some good model agreement here to improve confidence in the forecast in the extended. Here's Seattle, Tacoma. You can see Sunday should be fairly warm. It'd probably be pretty nice today too. You're getting up around 60. It's getting closer to normal. But then you look at us, we drop back down into the chilly air here as we go through next week. You see some of these highs on into the low 50s and not really warming up according to the European here through the extended. So the GFS is a little bit different here. You can see the nice couple of days, Saturday, Sunday, then back into the trough and then back into some nicer weather. As you could saw some of the ridging that the GFS brought there into our extended kind of highlighted here in these temperatures for Seattle, Tacoma. So yeah, I hope you guys get a chance to get out and enjoy the weather today and tomorrow, because it's not going to last. We're going to bring this chilly air over us. We're going to have thunderstorm potential. We're going to have mountain snows, and we're going to go into that in some detail, a little more detail tomorrow. And as we get closer on Monday, then we'll really start to try to nail down what kind of thunderstorms we're going to be dealing with here. And yeah, if you guys get a chance, check out the Ghost 17 satellite. It's good to have it on your bookmarks, and it's good to see where fires are developing. It's great to get nice images. So, for example, if you zoom in on the Colorado Rockies, for example, you can really see great detail when you do so. You can see the terrain features. You can see how the clouds build up on these terrain features. You can see the snowpack over areas of Nevada, Eastern Oregon. I mean, it's just really an amazing tool. I highly recommend everybody using it. You can see Lake Tahoe plain as day here. So yeah, I've even seen people look at the Ghost 16, which covers more of the continent, the eastern portions of Atlantic, sorry, not Atlanta. You can even see rocket launches, the smoke trails they leave if you zoom in far enough and whatnot. So yeah, check that out. The Ghost 17, Ghost 16, and yeah, good tools. So hope you guys get out and enjoy the weather. We'll talk about this a little more tomorrow, and we'll take a look at that frontal system moving in tomorrow night, and then we'll take a look at our thunderstorm chances on Tuesday on into Wednesday as we go. So I will talk to you guys later. Make sure to click like and subscribe, please. Thank you very much.